today is the 20th of November and it's time for yet another quite boring, very vague and not particularly interesting vlog. So earlier on today I did a monthly visit to Barron's Classic Car Auctions near Southampton. The video of that, a lot of you probably see that before this one, to be honest, but those of you who are on the CXXII and Rover 45 V6 channel membership tiers will see this probably before that one comes out, which I do hope that you enjoy very much. So what I've noticed over the last few months, and it's a similar story really in the world of normal second-hand cars. Obviously classic cars are just very old second-hand cars, as Richard Sutton once said, is that the prices seem to be softening. And they seem to be softening quite a lot in some cases. Now it's not the case for all cars. Something like a Renault Clio Williams or, I don't know, Mitsubishi Lots or Evolution 7 or something like that. Those that seem to be still very much kind of increasing in value when people want them. But the older stuff, things like Jaguar Mark IIs, MGB, stuff like that, things that have been classics for a really, really long time, seem to be softening a lot in price. I had a discussion this morning with Mr. Hunter from the Jeff Buys Cars channel whilst I was on my way to the auction, and he said actually that is quite a significant thing. So we've got stuff like 4 MGBs that were actually for sale at the auction that I've just been to. They'll be for sale in a few days. I've recorded this 5 days in advance of when the auction's happening. But I think at least 3 out of the 4 MGs they've got for sale there, they haven't sold for at least 1 sale, if not 2. Now Barron's do have an excellent policy whereby if your car doesn't sell the first time round, you get 2 more free entries, which is really good. But sometimes the cars there don't sell at all in the first 3 auctions they're entered into, and this seems to be increasingly common. I estimate well over half the stuff that I saw this month had been at previous sales, and they had to keep lowering the estimates down to get them out of the door. For example, there was a cream coloured MGB there. It's a bit of a strange one. It's a 70s shell, but apparently a 60s number plate or something like that, and I don't really quite understand how that works, but it was a little bit on the rough side, not overly rusty or anything like that. It looked like a perfectly good usable example. The estimate was only £2,000 to £3,000. There was an even cheaper one there that'd be modified to be like a sprint or hill climb car, and that was something like £1,500 to £2,000. I didn't realise you could buy MGBs for that kind of money anymore. I can't remember whether those two had MOTs on at the moment. To be honest, you don't technically need one to do any little test drive. I'd recommend you get one, of course, but that's what some people like to do. But definitely the new MOT was an MG Midget, 76. It had been converted into a chrome bumper model rather than the rubber bumper originally was, and it was only up for sort of £2,500 to £3,500, and it wasn't too bad. A few sort of rust blisters and things here, but it had a new MOT on it. It was a new MOT, so it's not just a case that it's all sort of rust buckets with no MOTs that are quite cheap. It's like, seems to be ones that are good usable examples that are, and this sort of goes on. I mean, you look at sort of some Jaguars and things like that. There was a lovely 2003 Jaguar XK8 convertible, and it didn't look sort of bad at all. It was really shiny, beige leather interior, wood, all that kind of stuff. Sorry, no, cream leather, that one, in blue. Somebody obviously taken care of it, and that was only £5,000 to £8,000 an estimate, which I think is pretty ridiculous, to be honest. It's a very, very cheap car for what it is. But it seems to be that, you know, the classic car market, obviously it's softened to this time of year anyway. We're in November, it's a bit cold, you don't really want to get out your sort of precious 60s convertible most of the time in weather like this, but you know, I just don't know what's happening. You know, a lot of cars going unsold dropping the prices, not just the cheap stuff either. There's a 993 911 that's been at that auction house for, I don't know, months. It's I think it's 95. It's a Targa top, from what I remember, and they've dropped it now from like around £50,000 to about £38,000, and it just keeps going down. I mean, I don't have £38,000 to buy a 1990s Porsche. I don't have that sort of money, and most of you probably watching this video don't. But it just sort of goes to show you that even the 911s, which were, you know, a little while ago sort of seen as cars that just you couldn't really go wrong, like they just go up, they're starting to sort of ease off. There's another one there, an earlier one, a pre-964, I can't remember what shape it's called, but it was a sort of Carrera Cabrio, 1988, and that is estimated at £30,000 as well. That's been on, you know, for a few auctions and unsold. I just don't know really what's sort of going on. It seems to be the sort of kind of way. And there was a 37 Rolls-Royce Phantom 3, I think it is, Phantom 3 I think it's called. That hasn't sold either. That's been there a few times. I think it's the third entry at least. And I just don't know what's going on. There's a Mustang there that's 2005. Not to everyone's taste, admittedly, but they just keep having to drop the price on it. Otherwise they just can't sell it. So it seems that actually, unless it's a specific type of car, that, you know, the sort of 90s stuff seems to be doing quite well. Obviously not the really expensive stuff, but the kind of mid-price stuff seems to be doing quite well. There may be some of the early 2000 stuff. I mean, the Focus ST Mark II, they're very expensive still. But these perennial classics, I don't know, MGBs, Jaguar Mark IIs, that kind of stuff, they don't seem to be doing that well. There's Morris Minor Traveller there. It was very nice. It was a 54, but it had a 1098cc engine put in a front disc brake conversion and a beige leather interior, and that was up for about £7,500. It was absolutely immaculate. I'm sure that car has probably woodwork restored on it as well, and that to me doesn't seem like very much for a nice Traveller. So I don't know what your opinions of this sort of are. Maybe I'm not reading the market properly and these are just coincidences, but I did speak to a gentleman named Jeff Ruggles as well the other day when I was at the NEC show, and he works for Classics World, I think. Nice chap, and he would probably know more than I would about this sort of stuff, and he completely agreed with me what I'd seen. He's more sort of like a mini specialist, and he was saying that in the mini world, yeah, you know, it's very hard for a long time to get a decent classic mini for under £5,000, but you kind of can now. The prices of even things like Cooper Sport 500 are dropping. So it's not, I don't think, just me. It could be. I mean, let me know in the comment section below if it's just my imagination. But I just thought it was sort of interesting. And do we know any particular reasons other than just generally what's happening in the world, the cost of living prices and things like that, why these classic cars are no longer holding their value when a few months ago they did? So let me know what you think. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and we shall see you again very soon for some more incredibly vague music.